If you follow me for a little while, you know that I'm into my PT and my walking. It's part of my morning routine. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm up early and I do a PT session at 6 o'clock, which is around boxing techniques with Rendell Munro. Tuesday, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. That's really important. I'm up at 5, go out for my 5:45 walk, and over the last 12 months, just to give you an understanding of what I've done, I've averaged over 11,000 steps every single day, and that's over the past 12 months. I guess the question really is, why do I do that? Well, I have actually found real peace, or complete peace, if you like, in just having that solid morning routine, which sort of feeds me mentally and physically. I believe kind of cleanses me, but mentally and physically, my health is better. And when I'm not doing those routines, I kind of have all those multitasking behaviors, all the thoughts that come in, um, all of the scrolling on social media, all of the things that you do that just actually don't actually serve you that well. So I get all of those multitasking behaviors return, which are kind of punishing me, but that happens if I step out of my morning routine. So I sort of feel it immediately when I've stopped doing it, and I just return back to it and I instantly feel better. And that's how I understood that this was just better for me. So I had to sacrifice other things to make sure that I could get up every morning and beyond that routine. One of those things was drinking alcohol. I'm not here to tell people not to drink alcohol. You do whatever you want, of course. And I won't bore you with all the details of those sacrifices that I had to make, but I did have to make some sacrifices to obviously better my day. However, the thing is, what I realized from giving up all of those past habits is I was just much happier. My mind's clearer, um, and all of those habits. I realized after you give them up, you realize that they're not looking after you. You're not serving you. They're not setting your day up to be productive or anything like that. So it's only when you give up habits that you realize that they weren't working for you, or more to the point, when you create better habits, you realize that the other ones weren't working for you. So I spent, like, for years, I just kept saying things like, "Oh, I'm never going to drink again," or "I need to start getting up early and doing some reading and getting stuck into my mental health and physical and eating properly and all of those things." I was saying it for years, and I'd start in January or whatever, and then never kind of see it through as a New Year's resolution. So I wanted to do the changes for years, but I had kind of limited beliefs on it, like, I know you need an hour and a half in the morning or something to do these things. And I'd be like, well, I can't get up an hour and a half. I can't start work an hour later because and all these sort of beliefs that I had. And then when I would talk about it to people, obviously the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with is what they say. So I was getting really bad advice from people who cared, obviously, friends and family care, but they don't always know what's best. And if you're taking advice from people who've never been where you want to get to, then all they can really do is come from a place of care rather than a place of experience, which is what I really needed at that point. And I had loads of unhelpful habits. The worst one being snoozing my alarm. Actually, the worst two: snoozing every time my alarm went off. So I've kind of, um, you know, broke my first promise of the day. And then the second thing would be that I just jump straight on my phone, checking emails, checking social media, and doing all of that stuff, which were really unhelpful habits. And then an hour disappears, and I say I ain't got time to do my morning routine or whatever it may be, when really I've just wasted an hour, which I could have done a walk, or thinking that I can get fit in a day instead of thinking I can get fit over a year. So those unhelpful habits that we have, and I had this, like, almost like this impossible like impossible barrier to overcome. So there was like self punishment, or like some sort of mind fuck where you beat yourself up for not working hard enough, or sorry, you beat yourself up for working too hard and not being present, and then at the same time beat yourself up for not working hard enough and being undisciplined because you're not present. And it's that kind of self talk that just um, kills our mindset, which is why I feel like the walking, the PT, and everything are just really helpful. And I learned that what we say about ourselves when we're by ourselves is really what drives our behaviors, and it's the behaviors that we need to change in order to create the change that we want for ourselves. So for me, when as soon as you're sick of that self-talk, the negative self-talk, and you're fed up with just constantly beating yourself up about not being good enough and all of the rest of it, just look at your daily habits. I think that you'll find a lot of the change that you need is just in in those daily habits. And specifically for me, the morning routine, because it kind of kickstarts everything for the day. And just ask yourself the question, are you giving yourself the physical and mental input you need to create a productive output? Years ago, I did a video saying that people want to have an outstanding day, but start it off with a crap morning. So you can't have like a miracle day, but not having a miracle morning. You've got to have your morning set up in order to give you the best day that you can possibly have. So for me, are you giving yourself the physical and mental input that you need to create the productive, positive outcome that you're looking for? Because you don't focus on the outcome, you focus on the things that you need to do every day to create the outcome. And are you focusing your energy on self-care or self-loathing? Um, because a lot of us are spending our finite energy, and we've only got so much of it on a daily basis, on all of the things that we're not good enough at, or blaming ourselves for not being good enough at, or focusing on lack of money instead of focusing on how do I change my fortunes in terms of where money comes from. So self-loathing is eating energy, and actually self-care creates more energy, right? I've found from personal experience, if you put some energy into self-care, you get more energy. If you put your finite energy into self-loathing, it reduces energy. So really think about that. Are you focused on what you're not good enough at, or what's not working in your life right now, instead of being focused on what people are doing to make their life better and learning from that? So focus your energy on how do people make better incomes, rather than how do I preserve this small income, just to use cash as an example. So, look, ultimately, no one's going to save you from that inner dialogue. Only you can do that. Only you can change the way that you talk to yourself when you're by yourself. And what we say by ourselves, about ourselves when we're by ourselves, is what's going to change and drive your behaviors. If you found this video useful, subscribe, like, comment, whether this is on Facebook, YouTube, whatever it's on. I'd love to get some feedback on what you thought from this video. Thank you.